summer of 2019, Atlético Madrid made one of the biggest statements in football history. They spent 126 million euros on a teenager, a player who had only recently broken into senior football, a player many believed could become one of the best in the world. His name was João Félix. At just 19 years old, he was not only seen as Portugal's next superstar, he was seen as one of football's next global icons. But 6 years later, the conversation completely changed. The same player who was supposed to lead a new generation of football was now surrounded by one question. Was he a wonderkid who failed to reach his potential? Or was he a special talent who was never placed in the right environment? To understand what happened, we have to go back to where the dream started. Before the pressure, before the criticism, João Félix was simply a teenager who played football differently. Growing up in Portugal, Félix developed his game through the country's famous football system. His talent was obvious early. He wasn't the biggest player, he wasn't the fastest player, but he had something harder to teach: awareness. The ability to see passes before others saw them, the confidence to take risks, and the creativity to make something happen when nothing was available. After developing through Porto's academy and later joining Benfica, Félix began attracting attention. But nobody expected what happened next. In the 2018-19 season, everything changed. At only 18 years old, João Félix became one of the most exciting players in European football. Playing for Benfica's first team, he scored important goals, created chances, and played with a confidence far beyond his age. Suddenly, he wasn't just a promising youngster, he was a phenomenon. Clubs across Europe started watching. Fans started comparing him to Portugal's greatest talents, and scouts saw something rare: a player who could combine creativity, intelligence, and goals. By the end of that season, Félix had helped Benfica win the Portuguese league title. The teenager who was barely known months earlier had become one of football's most expensive young talents, and then came the decision that would define his career. Atlético Madrid arrived. 126 million euros, a number that would change everything. When Atlético Madrid paid 126 million euros for João Félix in 2019, they were not buying an ordinary teenager. They were buying a dream. They believed they had found the player who could become the face of their future. But with that price came something every young player fears: impossible expectations. At 19 years old, every touch was analyzed. Every bad game became a headline. Every mistake was compared to the amount Atlético had spent. And the biggest question was always the same: could João Félix handle the weight of being a 126 million euro player? The first problem was that Atlético Madrid was not Benfica. At Benfica, Félix was given freedom. He could move between the lines, create, attack spaces, and express himself. But under Diego Simeone, football had a different meaning. Atlético were built on organization, discipline, intensity, and defensive responsibility. Simeone's teams were famous for fighting for every ball and suffering together. João Félix's greatest strengths were different: creativity, imagination, technical quality, finding moments of magic. The problem was not that João Félix had no talent. The problem was finding the perfect place for that talent. At times, he showed exactly why Atlético paid so much. There were moments where his vision and ability were impossible to ignore. But those moments were mixed with inconsistency. A brilliant performance one week, a quiet performance the next. And slowly, the pressure grew. Fans began asking, was he really worth 126 million euros? But football is complicated. Sometimes a player's development is not only about ability, timing, the club, the manager. It is about the system and the environment around him. For João Félix, the biggest challenge was not proving he had talent. Everyone already knew he did. The challenge was proving that his style could survive at the highest level. The relationship between João Félix and Atlético Madrid became one of football's biggest debates. Some believed João simply needed more time. Others believed he was never the right player for Atlético's style. And the truth was probably somewhere in the middle. Atletico needed a player who could help their intense, physical system. João Félix needed a team where creativity was the foundation. It created a difficult situation. A player known for his attacking freedom was constantly trying to adapt to a system that demanded something different. But blaming one person would be too simple. Football careers are rarely destroyed by one decision. The pressure of the transfer fee, the tactical differences, the expectations, the constant comparisons, everything combined. And eventually, the relationship between player and club started to break. In 2022, João Félix publicly expressed frustration with his situation. The player who arrived as Atletico's future was now looking for a new beginning. And that is when his journey entered a new chapter, not as the superstar everyone expected, but as a talented player searching for somewhere he truly belonged.
You can try things and little weave it around works, and Felix is on another. Oh, wow!
By January 2023, João Félix needed a change. The player who arrived at Atlético Madrid as the future of football was now searching for something much simpler, a place where he could feel important again. His next destination was the Premier League. Chelsea signed João Félix on loan, hoping he could bring creativity to a team struggling for goals and confidence. For a moment, it looked like a fresh start, a new league, a new challenge, a chance to remind everyone why Atletico had paid 126 million euros for him. But football rarely gives simple endings. At Chelsea, João showed flashes of his ability, his technique, but consistency remained the biggest challenge. Chelsea were also going through a difficult period as a club, changing managers and searching for stability. João Félix arrived in a team that was already struggling to find an identity. Instead of being the player who fixed everything, he became another piece in a team trying to fix itself. After his loan ended, another opportunity appeared. Barcelona. For many fans, it seemed like the perfect match. A creative Portuguese forward joining a club famous for technical football and attacking freedom. João Félix himself spoke about wanting to play for Barcelona. And in some moments, it looked like the environment suited him better. He combined well with other attacking players. He created chances. He scored important goals. The talent that made people excited years earlier was still visible, but once again, the same question returned. Could João Félix maintain that level consistently? Because the difference between a talented player and a superstar is not one great performance. It is doing it again and again. And that was the battle João Félix was still fighting. Was João Félix a failure or a victim of expectations? The story of João Félix is difficult because there is no simple answer. Some people will say a 126 million euro player should have done more. And that argument is understandable. When a club spends that much money, they expect a player who changes matches, wins trophies, and becomes a superstar. But there is another side. João Félix was never an ordinary talent. From Benfica to Atlético, from Chelsea to Barcelona, everyone saw something special. The question was never, does João Félix have ability? The question was, why has that ability not become consistent greatness? Maybe the pressure became too heavy. Maybe the clubs he joined were not the perfect environments. Maybe modern football demanded things from him that did not match his natural style. Or maybe becoming a superstar requires more than talent. It requires the right moment, the right team, and the right mentality. 126 million euro Wonderkid was never just a story about money. It was a story about expectations, and the pressure of being called the next big thing before you were ready.